disrupted.
America that I thought weird thing to happen.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So, the Ukraine-Russia war that they're trying to hold up with, Band-Aids and rubber bands, because it's just an utter atrocity and a charade that it is. It's a manufactured war for economic purposes to, segregate Ukrainians and Russians and people of the Donbass region, minimize one another, manufacture this aggression towards one another. To quote the words of Adam Schiff, who said in Congress, the whole purpose of this is to fight Russia over there, using Ukrainians as cannon fodder, and not fight them over here. So really, this is not about the safety and sanctuary, democracy, or anything like that about Ukraine. This is just a fixation post-Cold War, trying to go against Russia and building up the tensions against Russia, and just using Ukrainians as targets. That's really what this is about. And I just can't believe that they're doing everything that they can to scrape the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the propaganda of this war. And no bigger person to, no bigger company to push this propaganda than MSNBC. So they had this interview on with the Ukrainian First Lady, Olena Zelenska, speaks to Morning Joe on MSNBC, and right next to her is Hillary Clinton. Now, I wonder why that is. I wonder why Hillary Clinton is sitting next to the First Lady of Ukraine, and Hillary Clinton, you could see there, just not even playing this video, is staring directly at her. Staring directly at her, like almost like a tutor is trying to coach her peer. Like it's almost like a training video. Like, oh, you go ahead, say what we rehearsed. But so the First Lady appeared on Morning Joe, and she's about to make some interesting claims about how the Ukrainian women are defending themselves by the tyranny of Russia. And it's hilarious because of the money that we spent around the world, how, all these different NATO countries have basically, liquidated themselves towards aiding this atrocity of a war, this manufactured charade. Just the fighting stances of Ukrainians towards the Russians. Take a listen to this.
One of the women saw a drone from her balcony and hit it, shot it down with a jar of tomatoes. So to shoot down a drone with a jar of tomatoes, it's perhaps something that only a Ukrainian woman can do. And we have heard a lot of these kinds of stories.
What? What? The First Lady of Ukraine just blurtly announced that women are using jars of tomatoes to take down Russian drones. I guess we know that our money is used well purposely, right? I guess we don't need those missile defense. Oh, Raytheon's going to be so disappointed. I wonder what kind of tomatoes they were using. Roma, beefsteak? What? Let's hear this again. This is hilarious.
One of the women saw a drone from her balcony and hit it, shot it down with a jar of tomatoes. So to shoot down a drone with a jar of tomatoes, it's perhaps something that only a Ukrainian woman can do. And we have heard a lot of these kinds.
Yes, only Ukrainian women could counteract a drone, Russian drone with a jar of tomatoes. Like I said, they are just diving really deep into that barrel, scraping every single ounce of propaganda they can to try to fixate on this war and just how disastrously this is coming about. It's like people are waking up, they're knowing better, and thanks to social media, I think personally has played a huge factor into this, is that we're seeing firsthand exactly how manufactured this war is, and how this has nothing to do with the serenity or the peace or any democracy or the safety and security of Ukrainian people. This has all been manufactured since day one. If you look at the entire history of Ukraine and building up towards this war, you would understand that Russia invading the country on a cold February day is not the exact story of how this came about. That's what the media wants you to believe, that Russia just stormed in on a cold winter's night and decided to blow up Ukraine just at the whims of Vladimir Putin. That is not the case. There's a whole escalation towards this, and there's been documentaries, there's been, fact checkers, there's been people that have been lecturing for years and studying the history. If you look at 2014, the coup attempt that we did in Ukraine, you look at the Minsk Accord, you look at the peace agreements, you look how NATO broke its promises, so on and so forth. This has been going on for years. And people are not getting the full story of this. And it just baffles me that all people need to do is take 2 seconds out of the day to look at the history, and you'll understand how this is a charade. How laughable this war really is. The laughable point that a jar of tomatoes is taking down drones, as we're spending billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to restore that country. The most corrupted country in Eastern Europe, filled with neo-Nazis, and you have women using tomato jars as defense mechanisms. Holy crap. So some of the comments are just absolutely hilarious. It says, this guy says, I guess jars of tomatoes can supplement the missile batteries. Or how about this one? It's not satire, but it could be. Like, this could easily be a Saturday Night Live skit. Honest to God. They don't even need the writers right now. They could just show this on Saturday Night Live and still get the amount of laughs that they do. Because it's just absolutely hilarious that Ukrainian women using jars of tomatoes to take down drones. And I don't know the size of the drones. I don't know if they're military drones or just, the consumer playful ones that you see all around your backyards or whatever. But I think we got a live feed, actually. There it is. That's the defense. That's the war that's happening right now. That's the live feed that's happening right now. No, it's actually a GIF, but you get the humor of this. Oh, look at the defense of the tomatoes. They're fighting back. Those are democracy tomatoes. Just like freedom fries, right? The fruit are definitely taking on the powerful tyranny of Russia. Yeah. I kid you not. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. There's nothing more hilarious. But then comes the irony, the unsettling irony of this, is that while she's saying this, just remind people, here in Canada, we spent $59 million. $59 million on assault rifles, machine guns for Ukraine. Just on that alone. But Prime Minister Trudeau also has a $2.4 billion loan to Ukraine. As we're seeing a homeless epidemic, as we're seeing, people that have lost everything, as we're seeing infrastructure collapsing, as we're seeing a, epidemic of opioids and epidemic of drug abuse. The amount of money that we could have invested here in Canada alone to, resurgence our crumbling healthcare, our educational system. The investments we could have done here would be half, probably not even half, maybe just a quarter of the amount that we wasted propagating this war. And that would have been a true investment, because you invest in your own people, they give back. They become more productive. And then your country grows. This is nothing new. This is not rocket science. This is just basic politics, economy 101. The more you invest in your own country, the more it's going to be better for that country and for its people and for the country at large. You want Canada to be number one? You want the United States to be number one? Invest in your own people. Invest in your people so they can be more healthier and energized and more productive and compatible in society. Like, the fact that it has to come from me, it's just shocking. It's embarrassing. And here's also this. This is from the New York Times, and this is even more hilarious. Is the Pentagon just announced that they made an accounting mistake. The Pentagon? No. You know, the $21 trillion that they lost, that was just an unforeseen error, right? They never had accounting problems before. So they say the Pentagon has made an accounting mistake, frees up $3 billion more for Ukraine. So they made a mistake. They found more money. And rather than taking that money and actually, I don't know, doing something remotely American, actually helping their own citizens, even helping the veterans that are fighting this war, the people that are, you know, stationed overseas and all the, you know, 1,000+ bases around the world, that $3 billion, we're giving it more to Ukraine. So basically, we found a mistake. We found a accounting mistake to pay for another mistake. This is just unbelievably, so utterly ridiculous. And it says the Biden administration has been under bipartisan pressure to explain how it intended to continue sending weapons to Ukraine quickly without asking Congress for more money. And that's because, truth be told, they can just print off money willy-nilly. They don't need to go through the scrutiny. They don't need to, you know, find out how we're going to pay for it. It could easily be done. They could pay for Medicare. They could pay for tuition-free college. They could pay for good infrastructure. They could pay for livable wages. They could do all of it and more. But they won't do it. They won't do it. That's the problem. It's not that they don't have the money, they don't have the resources, it's they don't have the initiative. They don't have the initiative to give people health care. They don't have the initiative to get people properly educated. They don't have the initiative to fix your roadways and railways and highways and buildings and infrastructure. They don't have an initiative to help the homelessness. They don't have an initiative to help give people a chance up in society because they don't care. They don't care. Oppressed people are easier to manipulate. When you have healthy, more productive people, it's going to be a challenge for the establishment to then fool them. It's really just a big, giant scam. And that's what the Ukrainian war is. That's what the military-industrial complex is. That's what all these wars are about. It's a big, giant scam. Big, giant scam charade that they manufacture these wars to fight the war on terror because they have to create terror in order to fight it. And to reiterate what Julian Assange has always told us, that the point of this war, just like Afghanistan, just like Iran, just like Syria, just like any war that the West has participated in, it is not about winnable. It is not about a solution. It is about holding this war as long as it can. It's about continuing this war as much as possible for the business aspect, because this is flourishing more money for the military contractors. This is flourishing more money for the contractors, for the Defense Department, for all the, you know, businesses and investment firms that are now pledging their allegiance to Ukraine as they're going to build this utopian capitalist society from the ashes of this, you know, charade. How Zelensky is pledging to BlackRock and, you know, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, how they need to rebuild in Ukraine. That's what this is about. It's a business opportunity. It's not about safety. It's not about security. It's not about people. It's not about humanitarianism. It's not about democracy. None of it. They couldn't care less about the people. It's about the money. It's about the capital. It's about the resources that we could sell to suckers like us. That's why they're still in Syria. It's because about the oil. And you know who said that? The president, Donald Trump. And that's why the establishment hates him so much, because he's a wild child like that. He can blurt out anything. He can blurt out right things and wrong things. He can blurt out things that would favor the establishment and things that would go against the establishment. That's why they're doing everything that they can to silence him and silence anybody else that's outside the establishment. Because stuff like this would not continue on without outspoken people like me, without peace activists like Medea Benjamin and people like Tulsi Gabbard, who have actually been in combat and have seen firsthand what war is really about. And that's why we need more anti-war voices as much as possible. You know, I thank Medea Benjamin every day for the work that she's doing. Jose Vega, another person that's doing incredible work. I've shown lots of his videos. I'm sure there's people I'm missing on this, but this is what I mean. And it's just hurting more people and damaging the world than it is securing it. All it's securing is the assets of the top 1%. It's not helping anybody that actually just wants to live a normal life.